blood is the most complex organ in the human body. Some clues: it allows us to control movement, speech, intelligence, emotions, and process the information it receives through the senses. Did you guess it? That's right, I'm talking about the human brain. This organ is a great mystery to science. There are countless studies and documentaries about the human brain. However, they still need to be more comprehensive to understand their capacity. So, stay tuned and watch, but immediately after the opening theme, which I forgot it this week. This one's on me. So my old sport, this is EdDevelop, where you will find the best scientific and similar curiosities. Subscribe, activate the notification bell to enrich your day every time we upload a new video, and consider our Patreon. Find the link below in the description. So, let's get started. Human brain. I want to start by discussing the study conducted by researchers at the University of Washington's Institute for Learning and Brain Sciences. In 2004, they published the results of a study on the remarkable ability of babies to learn any language. They concluded, you will never be more intelligent than you were on the day you were born. All of the world's languages comprise about 800 different types of idiomatic sounds. And as adults, we basically only use about 40 sounds. But when you're a baby, you can hear all the sounds and tell the difference between them. It turns out that babies are programmed from birth to have certain forms of consciousness. When babies babble, it's not just babbling. If you put a tape recorder in the crib and listen to the babbling, you will notice that the baby is repeating the exact words repeatedly. There are random sounds that he repeats until he perfects them. Watching the infant's brain is like watching the most complicated sponge in the world, and then you realize how much information it can actually take in, and how much of it is drained away over time as the brain develops. What do you think, old sport? This fantastic piece of information begs the question, how does the human brain work? The brain contains billions of nerve cells organized into patterns that coordinate thought, emotion, behavior, movement, and sensation. An intricate system of interconnected nerves connects the brain to the rest of the body, allowing communication to occur in an instant. Think about how quickly you pull your hand back when you touch the hot stove. While all parts of the brain work together, each is responsible for a specific function, and everything from heart rate to mood is under control. In short, the brain controls everything we are. The cerebrum is the most significant part of the brain. The outermost layer of the brain is the cerebral cortex, also known as gray matter. Deep folds and grooves in the brain increase the surface area of the gray matter, allowing more information to be processed. The brain is divided into two hemispheres. These hemispheres communicate with each other through a thick nerve pathway called the corpus callosum, which is located at the base of the sulcus. In fact, messages to and from one side of the body are usually sent and received on the opposite side of the brain. All clear so far? How do your parts work? The two sides of your brain are divided into 4 lobes. The frontal lobe controls thinking, planning, organizing, problem-solving, short-term memory, and movement. The parietal lobe interprets sensory information such as taste, temperature, and touch. The occipital lobe is responsible for processing images the eyes receive and linking that information to images stored in memory. Finally, the temporal lobe processes information from your senses of smell, taste, and hearing. It also plays an essential role in memory storage. Among its parts is the cerebellum, a wrinkled ball of tissue beneath and behind the rest of the brain. It is responsible for combining sensory information from the eyes, ears, and muscles to coordinate movement. As you can see, each part of our brain has an important function. Next is the brain stem, which connects the brain to the spinal cord. It controls many vital functions, such as heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing. This area is also essential for sleep. Structures deep within the brain control emotions and memory. Known as the limbic system, these structures come in pairs. Next is the thalamus, which acts as a barrier for messages between the spinal cord and the cerebral hemispheres. Then we find the hypothalamus, which controls emotions. It regulates body temperature and manages basic needs such as hunger and sleep. Finally, in this section is the hippocampus, which sends memories to appropriate parts of the telencephalon for storage and retrieval when needed. It's basically like a memory bank. There is the nervous system, which acts as a relay for communication between your brain and limbs. For example, when you touch a hot stove, pain signals travel from your finger to your brain in a fraction of a second. In that brief time, your brain tells your arm and hand muscles to immediately remove your finger from the stove. This brings us to neurons. They have 2 main types of branches from their own bodies. Dendrites receive incoming messages from other nerve cells. Axons carry the signals leaving the neuron's body to other cells. Interconnected, neurons maintain efficient and ultra-fast communication. Hey, wait! Now's the time! Subscribe to the channel to be entertained while learning. It's free! It is an entire communication network that allows you to move, think, feel, and communicate. Every part of the brain acts as a mobile channel for information processing. You can understand why science does so much research because it's a vast system. We can talk about its external structure, but the internal processes of the brain are really complex. What do you think, my old sport? The mysteries of human intelligence. Human intelligence arose when man had the need to find a way to communicate first with himself and then with his environment. As a result, his intelligence and ability to communicate have become the fundamental foundations upon which our civilization is built. We could really say that the biological basis of intelligence consists of two components: the ability to acquire and accumulate experience, and how the experience acquired and stored in memory can be usefully applied to future situations. There are many mysteries. As they say, there is more that we do not know than what we do know. Intelligence comes in many forms, but it is not known what intelligence means biologically in any of its forms. How do billions of neurons work together to manipulate knowledge, simulate novel situations, and eliminate unimportant information? What happens when two concepts fit together and suddenly a solution to a problem is found? What happens in your brain when you suddenly realize that the murderer in the movie is actually the unsuspecting wife? Do intelligent people store knowledge in a more distilled, varied, or easily retrievable way? And we could go on with many more puzzles. But for now, we think we have left you to ponder for a while. What do you think if we now look at some curiosities about the brain? You might be surprised. Curiosities. Here are 5 fascinating curiosities about the human brain. Number 1. The typical brain makes up about 2% of total body weight, but consumes 20% of total energy and oxygen. Number 2. The brain is 73% water. It only takes 2% dehydration to affect your attention, memory, and other cognitive abilities. Number 3. Just 90 minutes of sweating can temporarily shrink the brain as much as a year of aging. That one really stood out to me. Number 4. 25% of the body's cholesterol is in the brain. Cholesterol is an integral part of every brain cell. Without enough cholesterol, brain cells die. In fact, high total cholesterol is not bad for the brain. Number 5. The brain produces about 20 watts of electricity. This is enough to power a few low wattage LED bulbs. Cognitive health. How can we improve our abilities? Cognitive skills refer to the mental processes and functions that allow our brains to perform various actions, such as walking, observing, analyzing, laughing, and communicating. They are those that involve receiving, selecting, transforming, storing, processing, and retrieving information, thus facilitating our existence by performing most activities automatically. Thus, cognitive functions have become an important subject of study in the last 60 years. These essential functions include attention, orientation, memory, agnosia, executive functions, praxis, language, social cognition, and visuospatial skills. There are ways to protect and enhance these abilities that we possess. Here are some tips on how to do this. Number 1. Be in motion. Physical activity, understood as any kind of sport, allows our bodies to learn and nourish themselves from these daily activities. Physical well-being helps with memory and information processing. Number 2. Respect rest periods. Rest is an essential activity for brain development. It is during these hours that the brain recovers from daily activities, and when deprived of sleep, it cannot function at its best. Number 3. Nutrition. The brain is one of the organs that consumes the most energy and resources daily. Therefore, it must be properly nourished with a balanced diet that provides it with all the nutrients and vitamins it needs to maintain maximum performance throughout the day. Number 4. Reduce stress levels. Stress is one of the most harmful and damaging elements for the brain. It is capable of damaging the hippocampus and destroying brain cells, in addition to creating difficulties in making decisions, socializing, eating, and modifying behavior. Number 5. Socializing and entertainment. Interpersonal relationships and the act of socializing bring great benefits to the brain. Human beings are social by nature and need to communicate with their peers, express and share ideas in order to thrive. Now you know the mysterious nature of the human brain, a small organ responsible for our existence. That's all for today. My old sports, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like and share. See you in the next video.